In the winter of 1935, a farmer in Oklahoma wrote 7 words in his journal that should terrify every single person watching this video. He wrote, "The land remembers, the people forget." He had no electricity, no refrigerator, no grocery store within 40 miles. His wife had buried 2 children that year. And yet, when the dust storms came, when the banks collapsed, when the government told him to abandon his farm, he survived. His whole family survived. And 91 years later, in 2026, we are walking into the exact same storm he warned us about. Except this time, we forgot how he did it. I'm Old Ancient Raccoon, and in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to show you what your great-grandfather knew in 1935 that nobody is teaching you in 2026. Stay until the end, because the last one is the one that's going to save your life. Let me ask you something. In 2026, food prices are up 40% in 3 years. Grocery chains are quietly limiting purchases on staples: flour, rice, cooking oil, canned meat. The power grid in Texas has failed 3 times this winter alone, and the government just passed laws that make stockpiling certain foods a federal reporting issue. Sound familiar? It should, because in 1933, 34, 35, they did the exact same thing. Rationing laws, bank holidays, food seizures. The Agricultural Adjustment Act literally paid farmers to destroy crops while families starved. The people who survived weren't the rich. They weren't the connected. They were the ones who remembered the old ways, the ones whose grandmothers had taught them how to live without the system. And every single one of those skills has been forgotten, until now. Item number 1. They called it the root cellar principle. And no, this isn't just about digging a hole in your backyard. In 1935, the average rural family stored 8 months of food without a single refrigerator. 8 months. How? They understood 3 numbers: 52, 35, and 12. 52 degrees Fahrenheit, 35% humidity, 12 inches of insulation. Hit those 3 numbers and potatoes last 6 months, apples last 5, cabbage lasts 4. Carrots, beets, turnips, almost an entire year. Your modern refrigerator runs at 37 degrees, bone dry, kills the enzymes that keep root vegetables alive. Your great-grandfather's hole in the ground was better than your $2,000 Samsung. The forgotten part? It wasn't the cellar, it was the layering. Straw on the bottom, sand between the rows, newspaper between the layers. Each one doing a job nobody taught you. That's why your potatoes sprout in 3 weeks, and his lasted till spring. Item number 2, bread. In 1935, when the wheat shortages hit, when the bakeries closed, when commercial yeast disappeared from store shelves for 18 months, families still ate bread every single day. How? They had a starter, a sourdough mother, a jar of fermented flour and water that some of them had been keeping alive for 3 generations. Here's what nobody tells you. A sourdough starter doesn't just make bread. It makes pancakes. It makes crackers. It makes a kind of beer they called small beer that was safer to drink than the water. It preserves meat when you wrap it in fermented dough. It even, and I'm not making this up, it even works as a wound poultice for infection. The same lactobacillus that ferments your bread kills bacteria on skin. In 2026, when the supply chain breaks, and it will, the family with a 100-year-old sourdough starter is going to eat. The family with a Costco membership is not. Item number 3, and this one is the one that broke my brain when I read about it. In 1935, a woman in West Virginia cooked 3 meals a day for a family of 9 on 1 fire. Not 3 burners, 1 fire, 1 log, all day. They called it the 3-pot system. Pot 1, the constant, a cast iron pot that never came off the heat. Beans, broth, stew. It cooked for 16 hours straight. Pot 2, the rotation, quick things, eggs, cornbread, frying. Pot 3, the residual, sat on the embers overnight. Slow grain, slow meat, ready by morning. 1 fire, 3 meals, 9 mouths. In 2026, when the grid fails for 3 days and your stove is a brick, how are you going to feed your family? On a camping stove? With a propane tank that lasts 48 hours? Your great-grandmother did it on one log of seasoned oak, and she did it every day for 40 years. If you're still with me, good, because the next 4 items are the ones they actively don't want you to know about anymore. Number 7 is the one that got a man arrested in Ohio last year for doing something his grandfather did every single autumn. Keep watching. Item 4. The Fat Bank. In 1935, animal fat wasn't trash, it was currency. A jar of rendered lard could be traded for medicine. A barrel of tallow could heat your house for a winter. A pound of bacon grease could fry 6 months of meals. Modern people throw it away. Or worse, they buy seed oils, canola, soybean, sunflower. Oils your great-grandmother would have called engine grease because that's literally what they were used for in 1935. Rendered tallow at room temperature lasts 12 months. No fridge, no freezer. It makes candles. It makes soap. It makes the best-tasting fried potatoes you'll ever eat in your life. And it has more vitamin D and vitamin K than any supplement in your cabinet right now. Every farmhouse in 1935 had a fat bank. 9 out of 10 houses in 2026 don't even own a jar. Item 5. Vinegar. Not the stuff in your salad dressing. Real vinegar. Apple cider, raw, with the mother. That cloudy stuff floating in the bottom that looks like it's gone bad. It hasn't gone bad. That's the alive part. In 1935, vinegar was medicine, cleaning supply, food preservative, hair rinse, wound wash, mosquito repellent, sore throat cure. The bottle on the shelf did the job of 12 different products you currently pay for separately. The Four Thieves vinegar recipe, written down in the 1700s, still used in 1935, completely forgotten in 2026, was what people drank during plague outbreaks. Rosemary, sage, lavender, thyme, garlic, soaked in raw vinegar for 6 weeks. Modern studies show it kills E. coli, salmonella, and staph on contact. You can make a gallon for under $3, or you can keep buying the 18 products it replaces. Item 6 is the one I love the most, the quilt code. In 1935, when the Great Depression hit hardest, when banks foreclosed on homes overnight, when families had to leave with nothing, the women sewed their wealth into quilts, silver coins between layers of cotton, seeds wrapped in oilcloth between the squares, documents folded into the binding, recipes embroidered into the pattern and code. A chicken meant one thing, a tree meant another. A whole survival manual hidden in a blanket. When the bankmen came, the quilt was just a quilt. When the family ran, they brought everything they owned and nobody knew. In 2026, your wealth lives in an app, on a server, on a system that can be frozen, hacked, or shut down by a phone call. Your great-grandmother's wealth lived in a blanket she could roll up and carry. Tell me which one is really secure. Item 7, the one I warned you about. In 1935, every rural family did something every October that, in 2026, can get you fined, investigated, or in some states, arrested. They saved seeds. Sounds harmless, right? It's not. In 2026, the seeds you buy at the store are patented, genetically locked. They produce one harvest and then die, by design. If you save them, replant them, share them with a neighbor, you're violating intellectual property law. There are people right now, in this country, being sued by seed corporations for the crime of growing food the way humans have grown food for 10,000 years. In 1935, a family kept its own seed library. Tomatoes from grandma, beans from the neighbor down the road, squash from the church potluck. A self-renewing food system that didn't need a single dollar to keep running. In 2026, you don't own your food, you rent it from 4 companies. And when those 4 companies decide the price doubles, you have no garden to fall back on. The man in Ohio I mentioned earlier, he was selling heirloom tomato seeds at a farmer's market. That's it. That was the crime. And the last one, the one I promised would save your life. It's not a skill, it's not a tool, it's not a stockpile, it's a neighbor. In 1935, the families that survived weren't the ones with the most food. They weren't the ones with the most guns. They were the ones who knew the name of every single person within a 2-mile radius, who borrowed sugar, who lent eggs, who showed up when someone was sick, who shared the harvest. The farmer in Oklahoma, the one who wrote, "The land remembers, the people forget," he survived because 11 other families survived with him. They pooled food, they shared water, they guarded each other's livestock. They were not 11 families, they were one family of 11 households. In 2026, the average American doesn't know their neighbor's first name, doesn't know if the house next door has children, doesn't know who lives alone, doesn't know who has a generator, who has medical training, who has a well. You can stockpile a decade of food. You can build a bunker under your house. You can buy every gadget on the prepper market, and you will still lose. Because the people who survive 2026 are going to be the ones who remembered that the oldest survival skill in human history is each other. The farmer's name was Henry. He died in 1971 at the age of 89 on the same farm he saved in 1935. His journal is real. His grandchildren still have it. And the last entry he wrote, in November of 1970, said this: "They will forget, and when they forget, it will all happen again. Tell them while you still can." So I'm telling you, if this video reached you, comment one word below, Henry, just so I know you heard it, so I know the message is still moving. Subscribe, because every 4 days I'm bringing back another forgotten skill that your great-grandparents knew, and that 2026 is about to make essential again. I'm Old Ancient Raccoon, and the land remembers, even when we don't.